You can say, have a nice day, and nobody will think twice. But you can't say, enjoy the next 24 hours and not have anyone thinking that you're threatening someone. This is Epic Thought. Yeah, it's Roll Baby. Anyways, enough with that. One more beat for the people at home. It's Roll Baby on the microphone. Yo, welcome to another episode of Epic Thoughts. I'm your host, Roman Merchant. And happy first Tuesday of December. The year is almost over. Hope you're doing well. I hope you're made it through Thanksgiving, made it through the holidays. I'm highly medicated today, so we don't know what's going to happen. I'm medicated because I got into a car accident this weekend. I got T-boned pretty bad, and this is my first day trying to move around, and it's painful. And so I'm on a lot of different meds right now. And so, but I was like, you know what? I gotta get at least a couple more. Oh, I have to get a couple more epic thoughts before, you know, the day ends. And so, excuse me for my phone ringing. That was very unprofessional of me. But people like calling me. So the year is almost over. And Christmas is almost here. We are 23 or so days away. And 22, 23 days away. So get your shopping in. As a matter of fact, on heritageparkprod.com on our store, the whole store is Black Friday is moved all the way up to Saturday night. So you can still get 20% off. And there's some people taking advantage. There's some people buying some clothes and stuff for the holidays. If you order before, I believe is the 9th of December, we're pretty positive you're going to get it before Christmas. So if you're looking for your last minute Christmas ideas and stuff like that, or, even maybe a couple white elephant gifts, I don't know. You can find it right now on heritageparkprod.com, but you got to do it before the 9th if you want to make sure you get it before Christmas Eve. And our Black Friday is now extended to, was it Cyber Week now? Cyber Week. So that's going on until the end of this week, which is Saturday, the 7th. Yo, let's get right to it, man. Daystar. If you haven't heard what Daystar is pretty much a broadcast network. It's a faith-based Christian broadcast network. Been around for approximately 25, maybe 30 years now. I think 30. I think Daystar's been around for a while now. If you want to talk about popularity, it's around evangelicals and Christians. It's a pretty popular network. About 20, if we were to do like the top 3 faith-based networks, it would be arguably number 2. It'd be TBN, which is Trinity Broadcast Network. Daystar would be arguably 2 or 3, depending on who you are. But you could intertwine Daystar and CBN as 2 and 3. But that's pretty much where Daystar ranks. Been around for years. Many people, many ministers have been involved with Daystar. There's been many people who have shows on Daystar, including a friend of mine who at one point he was on a series on Daystar, and I don't know if he still does that series anymore, but he was for a while. Very close. He was actually very close to the Lambs, Joni and Marcus. That was back in like 2018, but they've been around for a while. Ran by Joni and Marcus Lamb. Marcus, who passed in 2021 from COVID, has been a network that you can fool with for a while. I think annually they bring in $100 million a year. So it's a legitimate network that's been running for 30 years. This is not just some overnight success story. This has been a lot of muscle and sweat equity in the making. Along with that, it's been a family-run business. Their son, Jonathan Lamb, has been the vice president all the way up until current situations, being what they are, um, or all the way up until 2023, I believe. Um, Daughters heavily involved, and not only are their kids involved, their spouses are involved. So it's just they've kept it in the family all these years. And lately on social media and on YouTube and in the news, at least in the faith-based realm, this market this dynamic has hit a wall of allegations and just sad things to hear coming out of the Daystar Foundation and the network. It all starts back in 2020, I believe it was 2020 or 2021. They went on a vacation. I guess they do their retreats and vacation together because why not? You are a brand that's family owned, family runs every part of it. So they travel together. It's not unusual. Let's see parties. I mean, I've seen companies that are very family oriented vacation together all the time. During this time, Jonathan and his wife Susie, they have 2 kids now, but one of them, young lady who's 5 years old, they were swimming and on their vacation house and went upstairs in her bathing suit and was changing. And in the process of her changing, another adult in the house, and they're calling him Pete, in quotations. They're calling him Pete. And Pete was looking at her while she was naked. That alarmed Susie, the mom. She noticed it, called out to Pete. Pete ran to engage with Pete and basically asked him what he was doing. Why was he looking? What's going on? Pete apologized, just continuously apologized to Pete. Pete is not one of the family members, but he is somebody who works with the Daystar family. Pete was then, Jonathan and Susie, who were the parents, took this to, his mother, Joni, and father Marcus, and who are the grandparents of the little girl. And they've gone as far to ask them not to go to the authorities, don't report it, we don't believe. They've even said things as far as quoted, this is all alleged, allegedly, Joni had mentioned something to the effect of what she shouldn't have took her clothes off in front of him, like basically blaming the 5-year-old. And so that's been going on for a very long time. And it's coming to a head. It's coming out now that this is something that they've done all the due diligence that even their parents have asked them to do, like going to counseling, take the child to counseling. And one of the counselors that they've taken their child to has confirmed that your child has the reactions genuine to somebody who's been a victim of a sexual assault. No charges have been filed against Pete. No kind of recompense or action has taken against Pete. It's just been they'll take care of it in house, and like many things, and we've talked about in the show many times before, just got swept underneath the rug, and it's gotten crazier and crazier. So Marcus, who is the father, the patriarch, the CEO at the time. Remember, Jonathan, who was the child's dad, Jonathan is the vice president of Daystar, and has been almost like an ongoing understanding, even before this, that Jonathan was next in line to take over Daystar if Marcus and Joni if Marcus was to step down. In the email given out in about, I think it was July or August of 2021, it was said that Jonathan is not going to take over Daystar in the effect of his absence, that Joni will take over Daystar. And that was, of course, to Jonathan's surprise. And all this time, Jonathan and his wife feel like this has all been reactionary or retaliation for them coming off on Pete, blaming Pete, suspecting Pete of doing things towards their child. This has been going on for years. Now, this is where the story gets crazy for me, at least. 3 months after Marcus Lamb writes this email to the family, and in the email, I wonder if I can find, if we can pull it up real quick. I'm reading some parts of the email. Oh, I do have it. Here we go. Oh, it's uploading. So during the email, Marcus makes some very strong statements, some very outlandish statements, and then also added that, you know, they need to trust him like he trusted God. He also made statements saying that this company started with me and Joni. It will ultimately end with me. It will ultimately end with me and Joni, like basically saying, we started this without you. We definitely can run this thing without you. It also, I'm reading some of the footnotes of it. Just a lot of, don't doubt my resolve. Don't question my determinations. There can only be one leader. Either you trust me as God's leader or you don't. Your mother and I built Daystar without you, and we can run it without you. That would break my heart, but there are consequences for actions and attitudes. Don't doubt my resolve. Don't question my determination. These are emphases that were made in the email. The email ends with an assignment for his family to make a written list of every hurt, every slight, and every bad word or deed that has happened to you by a family member, including your mother or me. And if it is warranted, then we can deal with it. Okay. This was, unfortunately, 3 months after this email. Oh, and this information is coming from the Royce report. The Royce report is one of the first people to share this information out and get this information out. It's been and it's been crazy ever since they've released it out too, because it doesn't end here. Unfortunately, 3 months after Marcus's email, he passed. He passed of COVID. And the email even shares like a succession plan should Marcus die. So it's like, it's weird because it's one of those things where they were making plans and like, here's what we're going to do moving forward. If I pass, Joni's going to take over. Joni's going to run Daystar, and then he passes. So this is like one of those crazy situations. And so Joni, so prior to, Jonathan said that prior to this time, Marcus and Joni had communicated to the whole family that Jonathan would be the successor. But the email stated that Joni would replace Marcus as president instead. And Jonathan believes that this change was punishment for accusing Pete of doing anything to his daughter. He also warned them under no uncertain terms to stop playing judge, jury, or executioner towards Pete. So basically, during this whole time, Joni and Marcus defended Pete, even went as far as Joni waking up one morning on a vacation time when they were all eating breakfast together with the kids. Joni came and said, God spoke to me last night and told me that Pete didn't do anything. And Marcus just clapped. It's odd because remember, this is their granddaughter. This is their granddaughter. They should be moving. Grandparents should be moving heaven or hell to protect their grandkids, right? My mom would kill. My mom is scared of animals. Like I've never seen her like really fool with animals. You know, her she's in a new marriage where she's got a dog, and it's hilarious to see her with a dog. She is not an animal person at all. However, if any of her grandkids, if any of them were caught in any kind of situation, if a kangaroo had them in an arm lock or a headlock, I don't know where we would be. For a kangaroo to grab one of our kids or my cousins or my nieces. If she saw that, she'd jump and she'd fight that kangaroo with everything she has to protect her babies. That's just how she feels about it. She loves them so much. She talks to me all the time. And when I talk to her, not all the time, but when I talk to her, she's always talking about her babies. So it seems weird to me that um, they wouldn't protect their children first, or even investigate the situation with the interest of the child first. And it really hurts my heart when I hear the stories like this of where we don't protect children's interests. We don't protect the safety of children. We don't protect to make sure that nothing happens to the kid. Like, how can we be like we're running these ministries and these programs, these businesses, and now all these companies, all these groups, um, I'm hearing more and more, of course, as you get older and you get back into ministry, I'm hearing all these sad stories about the body of Christ and how they're falling and failing in different ways. It's just heartbreaking to hear. But this one really hurts my heart because this involves a child, and that a powerful family member connected to the child would rather just sweep it underneath the rug than investigate it and find out what really happens, which makes me question this. Okay. And it's funny because I've talked to some sources who are close to the Daystar brand. Like I said, I had a friend that actually was on the channel for a time, I think maybe 2.5 years. And I asked people who are involved strongly in ministry, because it's like a little, it's not a clique, but, everybody knows somebody. The funny thing is, most people said, you know who Pete is. That's what people keep telling me. You know who Pete is. And I'm like, I don't, me? And I'm like, yeah, you know who Pete is. And I'm like, I have no idea who. I don't know. I've never met the Lambs. Um, I've never met anybody connected to Daystar except my one friend. And then they were like, oh yeah, you know such and such. You know this person. I said, oh yeah, you know this person. Yeah. So you know who Pete is. And I'm like, oh, that makes me scared, because I'm like, I know who Pete is, and I'm racking my brain, and I can't think for a second who Pete is. So I don't even want to know at this point. I don't want to know who Pete is, but it makes me ask this question: why would you protect Pete in this matter? Like, if Pete did something, at least let us go to the, and this has happened in Texas. At least let us go to the police and file a report, right? I wonder if, and this is what most people are thinking too. I wonder if they have some kind of if Pete has something on the Lambs, right? I worked a couple years on projects, not necessarily on staff for a long period of time. I had a friend who worked on staff at TBN, but I worked projects at TBN. So I brought in to do different projects here and there when I was younger. So I was a fly on the wall. Then I went to ministry school in Phoenix, and we got to do stuff with TBN with their Phoenix department in downtown Phoenix area. So I was still involved. Came back, I did a couple things with my friend at TBN in Santa Ana. So I was there. I was unnoticeable. I was like, no one really cared who I was, because I was like a workhorse. I filled trailers. I moved boxes. That's what I did. I carried cords. I was a gaffer. Like, that's all I did. I didn't do anything outside of that. And so, being around, you hear rumors and you hear stuff, and during the TBN stage, and when I was there the Crouchers were there. It was different. It was a different type of unique environment, and there had some issues. There were some issues going on, and I would hear rumors, but I was like, I was one of those people that just wasn't involved in anything, so I just didn't. I was just there. I was like my first time working with them, I think I was like 18, and then I was working projects here and there for them till like 23. But so I never really engaged. I just stayed with the crew, because that's what you do on set at that time. You stay with the crew. Like, I'm not in the, we worked Ron Luce events, and did I talk to Ron Luce? No, not at all. Ron Luce did the Acquire the Fire. I'd never talked to him in my life. I don't even know where he's at now. We did Dare to Share. I did a lot of youth stuff. And so Oh, I think one time I got to be on camera for a JCTV thing. If you don't remember JCTV, I got to do that for a little bit. We did a couple shows of virtual reality. That's what the name of the game show is. So we were around, but we weren't around enough to get the inside scoop of what was going on behind the scenes. So, and I would hear stuff. People would tell me stuff like, "Yo, this is a cesspool, whatever." And I never really kind of cared. To this day, I still don't care. But this story is getting legs really fast because of a couple things. One, this involves another cover up with another mega ministry influencer. This is somebody who's got national regard. The Lambs have national regard. Joni more so now than Marcus, because Marcus has been passed. Joni has remarried, married Dr. Wise, and people are having doubts and questions, and people are having theories about that marriage because her now husband, Dr. Wise, filed for divorce from his wife 3 to 6 months, I think 6 months after Marcus had passed, and then started to court Joni when they got married real fast. So there's just so much stuff happening. It's really crazy. So then November of last year, there was a conversation between Jonathan and one of the people that they brought in, somebody from in-house to kind of be the mediator of this whole thing, who doesn't have a degree in psychology, but they use him in that regard. That they were saying stuff like they only knew what Joni would tell them. Joni gave them the instruction that we want to drop everything, let everything go. And she said that she told Debbie, which is one of the family members, I just want to drop everything. I don't want anything more to be written and documented on this. And so that was what Joni had said. So Joni wanted this thing to go away. And it's just, at the end of the day, there's parents that want to protect their child. There's parents that want to protect their child. Okay. Of course, Daystar has officially settled the matter, said that there's nothing been happening. They did an investigation and all this other stuff. They did an internal investigation about the matter. This is Daystar's statement. There was an internal investigation about the matter. You referenced when it was first raised at a family retreat in 2021, which concluded that no wrongdoing found or no evidence provided that corroborated the allegations. Apologies were offered and reciprocal forgiveness was extended by all involved. Everyone, including Susie and Jonathan, believed Susie is Jonathan's wife, believed that the matter had been approximately addressed and settled. It is unfortunate that these private family members have now resurfaced after these allegations were proven false, and the matter was resolved more than 3 years ago, after which family functions, including holiday gatherings, continued for several more years. Okay, now they have continued. However, Jonathan and Susie have kind of not taken a step back, but they've been really, really, really more protective as keeping their children close to them. And it's just to be in that scenario where you want to go on a family outing and the whole family's there. And I can understand the stress that they feel that they're taking their kid to this, but they don't want to upset the narrative. And it seems like Jonathan's sisters were really strong about their stance too. They stood with Jonathan. One particular woman, I'm trying to look for her name right now. One particular sister what is her name? Is it Rebecca? Yeah, Rebecca. Rebecca stood with them a lot, argued with Joni the fact, and just, but nothing was really done. So they would just go on these trips anyways. They would keep their kids with them. And I've been in those kind of situations and they're never fun. They're never fun. Why even go? Why even go on the trip? So it's unfortunate these private. Oh, I already read that part. Then the letter adds that Jonathan and Susie do not truly believe these accusations. If they did, one has to wonder why they continue to travel with their children and Pete and the family. So Pete continued to go on these trips. This is wild, yo. This junk is wild. Pete continued to go on these trips. Bro, you're getting accused of being a child predator. Why are we still going on the trips? That doesn't make sense to me. That's just wild. That's wild, bro. That's a wild place to be in. But yeah, here he is. He took a polygraph. Well, they said that he took a polygraph. But it just never happened. And the Wise family, who's the new husband, Glenn Wise is the new husband. He believes that these findings can be easily manipulated. And so Weiss's counseling hosted that there was no polygraph. Okay. So it's just crazy, right? So moving on, this is where it gets really crazy. On November 16, 2023, there was an audio recording from John. John recorded this from the lawyers at Daystar. And the recordings basically said that we got to get rid of this. This thing has to go away. We need you to sign the NDA. If you sign the NDA, you can keep your job as vice president. If you don't sign this NDA, then you're going to have to if you don't sign, you have 24 hours to sign. If you don't sign the NDA, then you will be basically sent away, and you will lose your position as a vice president. He already lost his position as a possible new president of Daystar, but he will lose his position as a vice president, and he would just become a regular employee. Do we have that soundbite? I don't think we have the soundbite. Let's play it. This is from November 16, 2023. No, we do not have the soundbite. We don't. We'll see if we can find the soundbite. So two months, excuse me. So Doug Weiss, who's the new husband of Joni Lamb, he divorced his wife for 30 years. He was married to her for 30 years. 2 months after Marcus has died. This makes it even worse. Even during the time of Marcus's death, Jonathan was playing the role of taking care of everything. He was making sure that his mom had what she needed and all these other things. And so it gets to the point where we are today. And I think maybe a day ago, Joni comes out and she says some things and she makes a public statement. This is her statement that she made. This is the Daystar YouTube page. This is the video of the Daystar YouTube page. This is Joni Lamb, the now president of Daystar.
I wanted to take a few minutes today to speak from my heart to the Daystar family and friends. Recently, Daystar made the decision to terminate my son, Jonathan Lamb's employment. That decision.
So this just happened less than 48 hours ago. They've now let Jonathan go. Okay. So they made a decision to terminate Jonathan's employment. I don't know if he signed the NDA. It's unclear. I have not been able to find out if he has signed the NDA or not. But either way, they've decided to let him go. We're freezing.
Was not taken lightly. It followed a 15-month review of Jonathan's performance and his refusal to take any steps to satisfy a detailed performance improvement plan put in place. He also refused my offer to participate in a formal mediation to resolve grievances in a biblical and professional manner. Rather than take any steps to improve his performance at Daystar, it seems clear now that Jonathan was focused on fabricating a smear campaign. You see, Jonathan was extremely disappointed that he was not named the future president of Daystar.
Okay, so this goes back to what I was saying before, that they went through the whole ordeal. He was supposed to succeed, and that was the plan from jump. That Jonathan, when it gets to the point where Marcus can no longer run Daystar, Jonathan was supposed to run Daystar. Now this whole thing happens with his child, and here this is what's crazy, because like common sense will tell us he has nothing to lose by doing a smear campaign. He already technically has Daystar. He's vice president, and nobody was going to take that away from him. So he has nothing to prove by smearing a campaign. He has nothing to prove by going at Pete. Pete wasn't there's no recollection, there's no recollection, there's nothing that says that Pete was going to be the new president of Daystar, or that Jonathan's future with Daystar was in jeopardy because of Pete. And now they're saying, they had to do what they had to do.
Following the death of his father and my husband, Marcus Lamb, despite the fact that Marcus had given a clear directive to the family and to the board that I would succeed him as president. Jonathan's disappointment in not getting his way only deepened when I married Dr. Doug Weiss, who has been such a blessing to me, the rest of my family, and Daystar. I can tell you that as a mother, as a grandmother, this situation saddens me deeply, and it grieves my heart because I love my family. I love all my children. I love my grandchildren. I love the work we've done together for so many years. And I had hoped that we could have resolved the situation in private.
Also, it goes to bear notice that she has gone on record to talk about, even when this conversation was kind of like in the whispers in the last couple of years, and this situation would come up in like interviews and stuff. She says she was seeking biblical counsel, and I wrote the name down. She was seeking biblical counsel through certain prophets like Sean Bowles. So she named Sean Bowles. If you don't know who Sean Bowles is a friend of Kenneth Copeland. He runs in the Copeland the Copeland clique, the Benny Hinn clique, the Todd White clique. Not to say that, and a lot of people, those are the like the Word of Faith people, the Word of Faith movement. I'm pretty sure Daystar is Word of Faith too. And for a lot of different believers, evangelicals, they kind of lately have been separating themselves from the Word of Faith. I've been noticing that a lot in the body, that people kind of separating from them because they kind of do some weird stuff, or they sometimes their prophecy is kind of odd, or it takes you away from the Word of God. And I said this at Sunday when I preached this last Sunday at the church. I said, listen, prophecy should never take you away from the Word of God. Prophecy should always take you back to the Word of God. If it takes you away from the Word of God, that's not prophecy. We got a problem. So it's not to say that, she's not with the right people. It's just, she just picked the weird people to be around. Right. And again, I don't know. Daystar seems to be a Word of Faith, movement. And it kind of makes me wonder, because I was part of so many different ministries that kind of flowed within the TBN Daystar family. Even the Word Network a little bit. The Word Network is like the BET of Christian network television. So for all my colored friends, BET, I mean, the Word is like the BET, but they would never top three like Daystar. In my opinion, Daystar was number 2. If TBN was 1, Daystar was 2. Let me fix my mic. Hold on. So, all right. What else you got to say? This thing gets really nutty after a while. It gets really nutty. Oh, I paused it.
But now, Jonathan has given me no choice except to speak out. Everyone knows that we have dedicated our lives to spreading the love of Jesus, and to see it attacked by my son Jonathan and his wife is truly heartbreaking. I want to assure you that all the allegations that are circulating against myself and my late husband are completely false. We have already begun to take legal steps to defend ourselves, and we will.
Okay, so she goes on to talk about what they're going to do and things of that nature. So what do you think? Now we're in the, at first I didn't have a thought about it. Now she's made a statement. Now this is public opinion. Now they got the courts of public opinion. And let me just say this, that the Daystar camp are not handling this well. They're not handling this well. I've actually noticed that, and I'm hearing reports now that Daystar is going after YouTubers and Christian influencers who talk or report on this whole scenario, threatening lawsuits and threatening all kinds of things against content creators who are talking about this. They haven't approached me because, listen, this is live today, December 3rd. So I don't know. They may say something later. I may get a letter in the morning. Who knows? We'll handle it objectively. We'll handle it our way. We handle it the HP way. Rebirth FT Dubs 1% represent. Anyways, and only my clique knows what FT Dub 1% means. So that's not a way to handle this. If you're trying to show that you're innocent in this matter, you did the right thing, and that you're the victim, you probably don't want to be the one going at everybody who's reporting it and denying. I always get like this funny feeling when the reporters, like, we called like the Royce journalist who reported this many times to Daystar to ask for a statement. They went to Daystar to ask for what they think about it, and Daystar declined to. Whenever a company declines to respond, that seems fishy to me. Like, you can't make a statement saying, "Listen, the allegations are serious. We're looking into it." Like, you can't even make a statement like that, and you just immediately go to, "Nope, I want our hands clean, and we don't want nothing to do with it. We don't have a part in this." And this is family. This is family, bro. There's a funny my only post on Instagram that's gone viral is this kid that said, "Would you snitch on your family for $10 million?" And the guy's like, $10 billion? He said, $10 billion. And he was like, "Mother, father, preacher, teacher, bro, doctor." He started snitching on everybody. That's the only thing that's gone viral in my life. And I wasn't even in the video. There it goes. I wasn't even in the video, folks. But I will say that for me, when it comes to certain things and certain grievances, when it comes to certain problems going in and facing and certain things that people should or should not do, I'm really a strong candidate of nobody should hurt a child. Like, nobody should hurt a child. No one should touch a child. No one should sexually do anything with a child. It's just, you want to get me angry? There's certain things that get me angry. And one of those things is any kind of person that hurts a child. Like, I don't know if I witnessed it or if I was able to stop it. I don't know if I have enough self-control to just stop at stopping it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think about my little ones, and if somebody hurt one of my little ones, like, I'd lose it. Even with my nieces, my nephew, and even my older nieces and my little cousins. If anybody hurt them, like, I'm even my kids' cousins. You don't play with children. I just don't understand how people can be that way. And I just don't understand how we can be so flippant about people who do those kind of things. There should be a special place in jail for them. And I think they should get life. I think they need to be under some serious psychoanalysis. And I understand hurt people. If no. You know what though? Somebody made a statement today. I can't think what I was watching. I was watching another podcast, and the guy was talking about, his dealings before he got his life together. And he was like, when I was a kid, I never hit my skateboard. I hit my gun because, I was doing crime and stuff and hurt people, but I knew what crime was. That's why I was hiding my gun. I didn't hide my skateboard. I always brought my skateboard out and played with my skateboard. I never brought the gun out because I knew I shouldn't have it. So there's a clear understanding of right and wrong. When you see those shows, How to Catch a Predator, and they immediately, when they see those cameras come out, or when they see that person who comes out and starts talking to them, and they see the cameras come out, they immediately shut her down. They immediately get crazy and they immediately get scared because they know what they did was wrong. And they had all these avenues to stop them from doing those things that would hurt people, and they still did it. To me, you know you were doing wrong. You know that this person's off limits. Rape in general is horrible, but you know you shouldn't do it, and you just crazy. But family situations are weird, man. After coming out Thanksgiving, I've talked to so many people who are like, man, just Thanksgiving and Christmas, it's just insane that they're a month apart because we can't deal with our family that often. Twice in a month in a calendar month is nuts, is nutty, right? And just imagine, family is always stress for a lot of people, but this right here, this story is stress enough. And on top of that, talk about family. Current President Joe Biden pardoned his son Hunter Biden. At first, I thought Hunter Biden had did all these crimes against humanity. Like I'm not defending him. Hunter Biden has got some work to do. Okay. Hunter Biden has a lot of stuff going on that he needs to figure out, and pray for him because his soul needs prayer, right? The Biden soul needs prayer. Like, forget what politics. Let's talk about it in a spiritual aspect. The Biden soul needs prayer. They need Jesus, all of them. Jill, Joe, Hunter. He already lost his brother. Hunter already lost his brother. He's actually now with his his sister-in-law, his brother's wife. He's now with her. That's crazy. Just some of the stories I hear when I was reading about Hunter today, and I'm like, wow. But he got pardoned for tax fraud and lying on a application to get a gun in Delaware, because he openly lied, basically saying he's never done drugs, as he was trying to get a gun in Delaware. That's an offense, right? It's a felony, punishable by jail time. His dad bailed him out. I thought his dad bailed him out for some other things. I thought his dad bailed him out for harsher things. So I was going to go off on him today. Then I was like, okay, he's not bailing him out for the crazy stuff. Not to say that he wouldn't, because I believe wholeheartedly that he would. Because the more you read into the Biden family, the more you're like, dude, this family's nutty. They nutty, bro. Like, they nutty. Be careful. You watch out for them Bidens, bro. You gotta watch out for the Bidens, bro. They nutty. God, they're nutty. Anyways, I say all that to say, families are always gonna look out for each other. And I feel sad for Jonathan and Susie Lamb, for they did not get, in my opinion, the family to look out for them. And a lot of my friends have regarded this as spiritual abuse, because we've experienced so much spiritual abuse in the body of Christ. And I have been somebody who's also experienced spiritual abuse. A lot of the people who watch Epic Thoughts have gone through spiritual abuse, but I want to just share this with you before we go. Yes, you have probably been abused spiritually. Some of you may be abused mentally, physically, emotionally. And it's rampant to talk about it. And it's good. It's good to talk about it. When you find a safe space, it's good to talk about it. It's good to have the conversations. We need to have these conversations. However, I feel like we're at the point now. We've talked about it. We've shared our piece about it. Now it's kind of the time to move on, right? Especially if it's long ago. Last night, I was in bed and I was thinking about something that somebody did to me almost 11 years ago. And I was in bed and I was having the same emotions that I had the day I found out what my friend was doing to me. This was 11 years ago, and it was so painful what she did to me. It was so painful. And I almost got to the point where I couldn't breathe. I was sweating. I'm sweating now thinking about it. I got really sad, almost cried. Then I got raged, because those were the emotions I felt when I found out what the person had did. Here's the caveat to this story. The caveat to the story is I chose to forgive this person. I chose to still be their friend. And I still chose to trust them more so than ever. And this person is still in my life, still extremely close to me. So, with that being said, why would I allow the moment to take the best of me? And this morning I started thinking about it and I was like, yo, that happened 11 years ago. I decided to let it go. And I understand our emotions like to bring up stupid stuff. I don't know what brought it up, maybe a song or something I brought it up. But eventually, as guy get to the point, I forgave. I decided I was going to trust. I decided to keep my friendship with this person because I felt like we invested so many years into this. And our relationship is about 25 years old. Our relationship is 25 years old. And I'm like, you know what? I made a decision 10 years ago not to cut her off, to continue to build because I love her that much. And I still do. So I can't let those thoughts get the best of me. I got to nip it in the bud and get rid of it. I got to get rid of that connection to it, that emotional connection to it, because you know what? I'm not there no more. I decided to continue, and our relationship has flourished since then and built even more stronger foundations. We're on a totally different level in our relationship, not because of that. So not because of that, but because we decided we were going to invest. And because every friendship is investment, you're investing in your friendship. That's why some of you have these long friendships that they're like family to you because you have investments in them. Some people trust their friends more than their own family. Most people trust their friends more than their own family. So to make those investments with her and continue to this day, for that motion to come back up, I had to be like, yo, are you going to be stuck in 2000? It was longer than 10 years ago. Cause I was about to say the year it happened. It happened in 2007, 2008, 2008. That's 16 years ago. 16 years. And I'm going to let something derail me that happened 16 years ago that I chose to forgive and move on. And I'm saying that because in the same matter, you know, a lot of my friends, we've been hurt by a certain pastor. There's a certain pastor who hurt a lot of my friends. But that he hurt us in the 90s. And some of us is as far up as like 2008, 2010. But still, we've moved on. We've have kids, we have families, we have built other bonds. Let that junk go. You know, so we gotta decide to let it go. And some people have, and some people just kind of still like, don't say that name around me. Like, we grown. Like the connection, we shouldn't be connected to the emotion anymore. We have to learn to let things go. And look, spiritual abuse is rampant. And it's something that I always judge myself on in leadership role. That's why I don't really hearken a lot of people, because I don't want to be a leader that spiritually manipulates the people. If you don't want to rock on Christmas Eve, then you don't rock on Christmas Eve. I'm not going to sit there and be like, well, the Lord told me if you don't do this. And that's what some people do. The Lord has called me to be your leader and called me to be your spiritual father and be your pastor. Listen, that junk's for the birds, bro. That junk is for the birds, right? I give avenues and I said, listen, this is what we're going to do. I respect you. You respect me. I'm the point person on this. I'm the leader right now. Actually, I don't even say that part. I don't even tell people I'm the leader and I'm the director that God's called. If they don't see that, you ain't no leader. You ain't no leader. So for even in this scenario, for Marcus Lamb to be like, I'm the one that God called. Clearly, we know this. If we don't know this, then you ain't the leader. Right? You're smoking your own supply. Currently, I work at a church. I know who the pastor of the church is. And I'm mature enough to know that God called the pastor to be the pastor. Thank God I have I work for a pastor who doesn't have to remind me he's the pastor. Because that'd be a joke if he had to. And he don't. Because A, he's confident in his call. He's confident where God has him. And he knows God's in control ultimately. So if I go left, he knows God's going to help him how to lead me. God's going to show he's a good leader, right? And he doesn't have to throw his weight around. And there's a lot of spiritual leaders who feel like they have to throw their weight around because they don't feel confident in the role that God put them at. So because of that, they don't want to lose footing. They don't want to, I guess I'm going to say, they don't want to confront sin. They don't want to confront when somebody falls. Like this situation can be sin confronted. It may be sin involved. The fact that leaders now don't want to confront things. They don't want to confront when sin is there. That's scary when your leader doesn't want to confront sin. That's scary. This takes it to another level because this is a criminal act that they didn't want to confront. This could be devastating. And for reasons that we don't know nothing about, it could be Pete has something on them. Or I've learned that people don't like confronting stuff because that means they have to confront things within themselves. So if you're growing up in ministry and you're trying to become a minister, listen, let me help you out so that you don't have to make no statements on YouTube looking like a goofball. Deal with you now. If there's something going on in your life, if you got sin in your life that is abhorrent, deal with it now. Get you some counseling. Pray. Fast that devil out of you. Get that junk fixed, bro. It doesn't just go away because you're a successful minister. I'm going to tell you right now, it don't go away because you're a successful pastor or a successful minister. Oh, you have 100,000 people on your YouTube channel. That don't mean that you made it. If you dealt with it when you had 3 followers, you go and deal with it when you have 300 followers. As a matter of fact, it multiplies that much more. So deal with it now so you don't have to deal with it later and then look like a goofball and make a statement online. It's such a goofball thing to do. It's such a goofball. It's like, look, and you could tell it was disingenuous. Like this woman made this comment, this statement online. You could tell she's reading from a script. It's not even from her heart. Like, how cold is that? That, you fire your son in front of millions of people. You post that junk on YouTube. Like, get that. You fired your son and you post it and called him a liar on YouTube and then have the audacity to threaten other content creators who report on your situation and say you're going to sue them. What a goofball, bro. Listen, I'm not just saying that because Heritage Park works in the same field as Daystar. I just realized that right now. It's like, oh, shoot. We're trying to be network. We're everything but network. They're everything but, well, they're a media mogul. They are mogul. But we're everything but the network. And I've been looking at, does it even work if we want to be a network? But listen. Do the right thing, man, and pray for the lambs. Pray for the wises. Pray for that little girl. Pray for Jonathan. He's going to find his way. He's going to get back on his feet, and he's going to be good. Heritage Park, PROD.com. That's the website. All the Black Friday sales going all the way to the end of the week. Also, join us on school. Next year, we're going to start classes on school. You want to be part of the school community. It's going to be popping. We're going to get things going. We're going to set it up so you can join for free all the way up until January 1st. So if you want to join for free, you can right now. Go to the school. The link is in the bio. The link is in the descriptions. Join the school community. We will extend free all the way until the new year. And then after that, you'll have to go back to the $8 a month. All right. Listen, God bless you, man. Pray for your foes. Pray for your friends. Pray for your family. And I will talk to you. Stay safe. Stay strong. Share, like, share, subscribe. And we'll talk to you next week.